Hey everyone, so this is going to be your Observing Changes in Matter lab video. So I'm going to be providing all of the reactions that you need to see with the lab that I have attached to this post. And I'm going to try to provide as much information as I can. Of course, I'm going to try to get multiple angles of each reaction. I have a temperature probe set up so that you are able to observe any changes in temperature that occur. And I'm going to do the best that I can, so I'm going to need you to bear with me, follow along with your lab sheet, and type in your observations, and pause where you need to, all that stuff, go back and review, and use that paper that I passed out to show you how to do good observations. I've also attached it to this post, so use that so that your observations are very detailed and very complete. Okay, so here we go. Okay, you guys, so this is station 1, and this is going to be the styrofoam and acetone. So I'm going to go ahead and do your observations before. So there's your piece of styrofoam. This is what acetone looks like, basically water. Okay, and I want you to remember that if we were in class and those of you that didn't have their signature sheet signed in, turned in, those of you that need to retake your lab safety and equipment quiz, you guys would not be participating today. I sent you all out emails at the beginning of the second week of school, so you all should know who you are. And so hopefully when you return from this hiatus at home, you are bringing that stuff in so that we can start doing labs like this together, okay? All right, here we go. There's your styrofoam. I'm going to go ahead and start adding a few drops of acetone here. All right, so now I'm on station 2, and the first step it says is to grind a piece of chalk with a mortar and pestle. I'm not going to let you sit here and watch me grind it up, but I did want to give you a couple of tips when you're grinding something like this. The first thing that you want to do is kind of tap it to break it up into smaller pieces, and then you can start your grinding, which you push and turn like this. It's not otherwise you get nothing done. Okay, so I'll be back in a minute with my grinded chalk. Okay, so I have my chalk ground up, and the next step is to put my ground up chalk in a small beaker. All right, then I am supposed to add 10 milliliters of acetic acid, which I have right here. In case you didn't know, acetic acid is vinegar, so you can see it's colorless. And I'm also going to show you something else because I'm going to go ahead and record the temperature for this reaction. So I want you to go ahead and look down here at the bottom of my screen. It's telling you what the temperature is in the room right now. Okay, so you can see if there's any temperature change when I put these together. I will be filming the temperature as well as the reaction, hopefully, if all goes according to plan. Okay, I'm going to pour in my vinegar and add my temperature probe. So here's my vinegar. Okay, here's the current temperature. So it looks like this reaction is finishing up, and there's no change on the temperature reading since I last showed you. So we're going to go ahead and move on to reaction 3, or station 3. Okay, this is station 3, so I have my 50 milliliters of water in my 250 milliliter beaker. I'm going to put my spoonful of starch in, stir it up a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to show you the temperature that this is currently at. Just a moment. So you can kind of see our starting temperature there. I'm going to leave that temperature probe in there as I add the iodine. It says to add 2 drops. So I'm going to show you what the iodine looks like in my dropper. Okay, this is what the iodine looks like in my dropper. So you can see it beforehand, make your predictions and all that. And then I am to add 2 drops of iodine, so here we go. Went ahead and added 3, just so it made a bigger effect on camera. So you can kind of take an observation of that. And then I'm going to go ahead and show you the temperature. And I'm going to stir this a little bit so that you can make a better observation maybe. Okay, so you can see it kind of from the side maybe. I will add a couple more drops in there just so that we're thorough. And I'm the teacher, so I can do what I want. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so you can kind of see that. All right, on to the next. Okay, so now we are at station 4, where we're supposed to put approximately 5 drops of hydrochloric acid into a small test tube, which I've done. There's my hydrochloric acid. It's clear, it looks like water, but don't be fooled. Okay, and then I'm supposed to cut a piece of magnesium, which you can do with scissors. This is what magnesium looks like. And yes, we've talked about it quite a bit on the periodic table. We built a lot of ions and isotopes of magnesium, but it's metal, and yes, you can cut this strip with scissors. So that's all the bigger that I needed. But what I'm going to do before I put that into the acid is I'm going to go ahead and take the temperature again. So I've got my temperature probe in there, and I'm going to show you what it's initially reading here. Okay, so about 23.8. Okay, now while that is still in there, I'm going to go ahead and attempt to get my magnesium down in the bottom as well, so that we can take a temperature reading and see what's going on. So here we go. Here's our new temperature in the middle. Still going on. We're supposed to observe it for at least a minute. Keep in mind that big metal piece in there is the temperature probe. And I'm going to take it out in just a minute so that we can see what is left in the test tube. Okay, so here's what's left behind in our test tube. You can observe the test tube a little bit. I'm going to try to turn it so you can see it. Okay, on to the next. Okay, so now I'm on to station 5. So I have my small test tube and I'm going to place my 6 drops of potassium thiocyanate, which this is potassium thiocyanate. It's clear like water. I'm going to place my drops. Okay, so I've got my 6 drops of that there in the bottom. And I'm not going to put the temperature probe in this one because it can stain it. I don't want that to happen. So here we go with, I'll have the white background for this one. So I'm going to go ahead and put my 3 drops of iron 3 chloride. Okay, so here's my result. This is actually what they use in the movies to make fake blood. All right. Okay, on to the next. Okay, so station 6, I'm adding my 2 drops of universal indicator to one of the wells. Okay. And now I'm going to add a couple drops of hydrochloric acid here. Okay. Okay guys, sorry about that. I kind of pulled an audible in the middle of that reaction because I realized that you weren't going to be able to see that nearly as well on camera as I can here in the classroom. So I am going to switch up my universal indicator to show a little different pH range, and hopefully that gives you a little better observation. So here we go again. A couple drops of that. Going to add in my hydrochloric acid here. There's 2 drops of that. Now I'm going to add some sodium hydroxide. Try to zoom you in a little closer on that so you can see a little better. Okay, next station. Okay, so I'm actually going to skip station 7 and go to station 8 real quick because I don't want to get the Bunsen burner out until I absolutely need it. Okay. Okay. Now that we're in focus, I have my beaker that was going to be at the station, and now I just have to put the magnet in it and you can see what happens. So there's kind of the prior observation. I'm going to swirl my magnet around in here a little bit, and there's the result. Okay. Last station, just a minute. Okay, so this is our last station for this lab, I know, finally, but I decided to go all out for it, as you can tell. I'm also going to take this opportunity to show you how to start a Bunsen burner, because I never got to that in the first week. So here is your lesson, not hard. In order to turn the gas on, you want it to be even with the nozzle here, and that's when your gas is on. And then to do your Bunsen burner, what you want to do is you want to get close to it, and when you can barely hear the gas coming out, that's when you can go ahead and strike your match and light it. If you can get your match lit. There we go. Okay? Come in from the side so you don't burn yourself. Okay. Bunsen burner is lit. Now, just for future reference, this controls the amount of gas that you're going to give your flame here. So lefty-loosey, righty-tighty. If you want more gas, you turn it to the left. And then this right here, the actual kind of neck of the Bunsen burner, adjusts the height of your flame. Okay? So now, our last station is where I am going to put magnesium into the Bunsen burner. So again, our magnesium looks like this, the little strips that I told you that you can cut with scissors. I'm going to use my tongs here, and you need good eyewear for this, so those of you watching the screen, you want to be prepared. So I have proper eyewear, but really for this one, the proper eyewear you need is right here. Okay, lights off for this one. Turn the lights back on. We'll get you a close-up of what this looks like after it has been burned. It's got a couple of pieces there. So I'll give you a before and after shot. This was the magnesium before, and this is your after. And since we're winding up the video, why not do it again, right? I mean, it was pretty cool. Better do lights off. Okay, that concludes today's lab. I hope you guys are staying well, and I'll see you soon.